Hello there, folks. Hey, this is Joe Wazoo here. Hey, just got a message from a friend, YouTube subscriber, Miro, and he sent me this message. He's got he's trying to use an HOA button, and that's the hand-off auto button, and he's using an Allen Bradley PLC, Crimson 3.0, but I'm going to do this at 3.2, works the same. So he's got here, looks like 3 bits, the B3 table, bit 0, 1, and 2. See, does this work? Yeah, bit 0, 1, and 2 for hand off auto. And let's go ahead and try this out. So I'm going to use Crimson 3.2 for this. Miro, you can do this in 3.0. It's exactly the same, so that doesn't matter. But I'm going to use 3.2 because then I can use the emulator and show it happening. So I'll do File New. I'm going to use the G07 for emulation for my idea. And I'm not going to worry about communications. I'm just going to test the logic first, and then I'll link the tags to the stuff in the PLC. So I'm going to go over here to data tags on the left, and since the hand off auto are all 3 of those are booleans or bits, I'm going to create some flag tags. So I'm going to hit the pull down here, and I'm going to select a flag tag, and I'm going to go ahead and rename this first one hand. There you go. And then I'll go ahead and do another new. The next one's going to be auto, I believe. No, off is the middle position. And then one more, and this will be called auto. All right, so there's my 3. Okay. Now I'm going to go over to display pages. Here's the blank page. I'll delete this. And the HOA button happens to be found over here in primitives, and it's going to be in the 3-state selectors. So if you go into the 3-state selectors, here's the handoff auto. I'm going to just use this one. I'm going to drag this out here like this, and I'll make this a little bigger for us to see with the emulator. All right, now let me double click on this, or right click, go to properties. And I'm going to, I always do this, team, I turn off the aspect ratio. That way it fills in regardless of the shape. So I'll do that. And then if you notice right here, you need a tag that will tell you what position it's in. And that tag has to really be an integer. And I say that because if I go to the advanced tab, you can see that this is position A, this is position B, and here's position C. You also know that here. I don't know why this is not showing right, but anyway, that's what's going on. So I need a tag here that's an integer. So this is something I like. I can put my cursor in here, and I can just type HOA. Notice I just typed that. Now when I hit enter, watch what Crimson does. It will politely bark at me and say, hey, I couldn't find that tag over here that you already created because I haven't created it. And I want it to be an integer because it has 3 or more states. So I'm going to say yes to this. Now I have a new tag called HOA, and that's for this thing here. So as the operator clicks this here, he'll be in the hand mode, clicks here, he'll be off, and if he clicks over here, he'll be auto. All right, so I'm going to click the OK button. But I need some way to execute the logic. If I go back to Miro's message, here you go right here, I suspect that when I'm in the hand mode, bit 0 would be on. When I'm in the off mode, bit 1 will be on. And when I'm in the auto mode, bit 2 will be on. Let me back up. When I'm in the hand mode, bit 1's or bit 0's on, the other 2 should be off. And when I'm in the off mode, bit 0 should be off and bit 2 should be off, and vice versa. When I'm in auto mode, bit 2 should be on and the other 2 should be off. So given that logic, here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to go over here to programs. On the left, go to programs, and I'm going to go ahead and rename this program real quick. Right click here, HOA, I'll call it logic, for instance. You can leave it that name too, but anyway, I'll do HOA logic, and I'm going to write real simple code. I'm going to say if, open parentheses, double click or drag HOA out here, HOA. We want to ask the question, is this in the 0 state? So I'm going to put 2 equal signs and a 0. The 0 state is the hand, so I'm going to put a closed parentheses. That is the question. Hit enter, tab across. Because I have multiple things I want to do, I'm going to do the opened squiggly brackets, which is shift and the key to the right of the letter P as a Paul. And then what I do, team, is always to enter down a few lines and the close one. So make that a little bigger so you can see it. So that's the open squiggly, and that's the closed. And if this is true, we're going to do everything in between here, okay? So what I want to do, well, watch this. I'll put my cursor right here. I'm going to go over to the right, and I can either drag this or I can just double click. That'll put the tag there, and then I'll do a space equals 1. So if I'm in the hand mode, I want that to be a 1, but then I'll do enter, and I want the other two to be off. So I'll double click on off, and I'll do a space. I might do a tab like this, 0, semicolon. Give me a second, team. I'm going to see if this lines up. There we go. Okay. I'll do a tab. Enter again, and then I'll double click the auto, tab across, 0, semicolon. All right, now if I hit delete a few, I can get rid of that. Okay, that's cleaned up. Now, I need to do this 2 more times for the off mode and the auto mode. So I'm going to do this, team. I haven't moved away from here, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight all this stuff. I'm going to right-click on it, copy, right-click, copy, and then I'll put my cursor here, and I'll enter, and tab over, and I'll do Control-V, paste, Control-V, paste twice, okay? Now, this middle one, I need to change that to a number 1 because that's going to be the off position, and in the off position, the hand will be 0, but the off will be 1, and then down here, this is going to be position 2, so I'll do that, and then I'll make the hand be 0, and I'll go down and make the auto be 1. Notice something. You got to use your eyes here. In this one, only the hand is on. In this one, only the off is on. And in this one, only the auto. Okay? Now, I'm going to compile this. Anytime you write code in here, you have to use the translate or compile button, that right there. And that'll check to see if your code's good. Notice that the diamond over here is yellow. If it is yellow or red, you got a problem. You want it to be green or gray. So I'll go here, boom. No problems. You might even hear a sound. I don't have a sounder. But now here's the next trick. When do I want to call this program? Well, actually, I'm going to go over to data tags on the left. I'm going to click on the HOA tag. And I'm going to say anytime HOA changes by just 1 value, I want to execute that code. So I'm going to go simply to the triggers tab. And on the triggers, trigger 1, I'll hit the pull down. I'm going to choose change in value. And I'll put a value of just 1, just by changing by number 1. 0 to 1, 1 to 2, that's 1, that's all. I want to call that program right here. So I'm going to go over to the right side of Crimson, click on click on programs over here, and I'm simply going to drag this right here. Bam, right there. Okay, so in theory, what that means is that whenever the operator changes this, it should call that program. Okay, now for testing, I'm going to go back to display pages. I'm going to go over to the right side, and I'm going to click on my hand tag, hold down my shift key, click on HOA. I'm going to highlight all 4 of those, and I want to drag them on here like this just to see if this logic works before we move on to our next step. So I'll go ahead and make those guys like that. Let me make them a little bigger just so the emulator will see it. Okay. You don't have to put these on your screen, but I just want to test it, okay? So I'm going to use the emulator. This button here turns on the emulator. Let me go download to it, and let's see what happens. Say yes. All right. First off, I need you to notice something. I just downloaded this, and currently the switch is in the hand mode, so this should be on, but it's not. And I'm going to talk about why it's not. Well, a little bit I'll solve that, but let's test our logic. So if I put it in the off mode, look, off is on. Yep. Go to auto. That's on. That's great. If I go back to there, yep, that's good. And if I go there, there. But you noticed when I first downloaded, this wasn't on because I've never actually I never actually called the program at all. So therefore, all 3 of these were off, and that's not a valid state. One of these has to be on. So what I'm going to do back here at Crimson, I'm going to go back to, let me close the emulator. And I'm going to go over here to left display pages. I'm going to click on the word pages up here on top because I really need to call that program at least once on startup to put it in the right mode. So if I go here to pages and you see global, you've got these things. In startup is where I want to call that program just 1 time. So I'm going to go to the right side and I'm going to grab the HOA logic and drag it right here into the on startup. That, in theory, should execute this code one time, and since it starts up in the hand mode, should do it. So let's try it. Let me go ahead and Shazam this down or thing. Let's see. There it is. It worked exactly what I wanted. Before that wasn't on. Now it is. So if I go here, boom, boom, perfect. Works like it should. And I got to be honest with you, team, an HOA button, you have to go through the middle to get over here. I've had a few people in class when I use this, and they go, why can't I go from hand to auto? I said, well, you have to pass off to get there. So it's physically impossible. That was somebody actually, I realized I said, do you turn it this way? No, you always go this way. But anyway. All right, so that solved that problem. Now let me go one step further. Everything I did in this demo is internal tags. Now I don't have an Allen Bradley PLC with me, but I'll show you how you set this up to a PLC. I'll go over here to communications. Let's say I've got a MicroLogix or something with Ethernet. I'll just pretend Ethernet. I'll go here to protocol 1, hit the pick button, go down to Allen Bradley, and I'm going to pick this driver here. And I'll call this guy, if I click on it, it could be a Slick, could be a MicroLogix, could be an old PLC 5. Ooh, vintage. But I could go here. I'm going to rename this guy AB_PLC. Okay. Now, if I go to data tags, these three are mapped to, according to his request, B3 bit 0, B3 bit 1, and B3 bit 2. All right. So if I click on the hand tag here in the middle, go down here, go down to the Allen Bradley PLC, click on this here, B. There we go. Now, this is B3. This is word 0, but I can't get to bit 0 yet. So watch this. I'll click the OK button. And then what I'm going to do, you see right here where it says unsigned integer? I'm going to hit the pull down here and do bit array little endian. And now I can actually pick what bit number it is. It's actually going to be bit 0, so I'll leave that alone. And then if I go over here, I'll do the same thing for the next guy. This is going to be bit 1, so I'll go beat that same word there. But then this is going to be bit 1. And this one, auto, will be bit number 2. So I'll go here, here, same thing. Okay, there you have it. Now, let's test it again, and you're going to see something interesting. You ready? Watch. So this working comes up. The emulator right now is trying to talk to the PLC. Of course, I don't have a PLC here, but it's going to eventually time out, and we should get dashed lines. See here? We do, because I don't physically have it connected. If it did, or if I did, then these would actually be zeros or ones, but I don't have a Allen Bradley PLC. But anyway, the also part of this is I use the emulator to test this. My logic works great now. He just has to test his logic with the PLC. Anyway, I'm going to save this program as HOA, and if you want a copy of it or something, send me a note, but that's what you got to do. Hey, thanks a lot, folks. Have a great day. See you later.